She was only 19 years old. A normal evening, a short walk, and then she vanished. No witnesses, no clues, just an eerie silence that stretched into decades. The screen shifts to a dimly lit suburban street at dusk. A young woman walks alone, her silhouette illuminated by the glow of a distant street lamp. A cold wind rustles through the trees. Lisa Montgomery was just like any other teenager, full of dreams, plans, and a bright future ahead. But on that fateful night in 1996, everything changed. She walked out of her family's home and was never seen again. A transition to fast-paced news footage from 1996. A grainy TV screen flickers with a news anchor reporting the disappearance. A missing persons flyer is held up by a distraught mother, tears in her eyes. Authorities are searching for 19-year-old Lisa Montgomery, who disappeared without a trace from her quiet neighborhood. Despite an intensive search, there are no signs of foul play, no clues left behind, only a growing sense of unease. The screen flashes with images. A search team combing through nearby woods. A detective looking at a case file, shaking his head. The missing person's photo plastered on telephone poles. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Hope faded, but the questions remained. Where was Lisa? Had she run away? Was she taken? Or was something even darker at play? The scene slowly fades into a dimly lit police evidence room. Dust-covered files stacked on a desk. A single, untouched case file sits in the middle, labeled Cold Case, Lisa Montgomery, 1996. For 28 years, her case remained unsolved, a mystery frozen in time, until one fateful day, when a single phone call changed everything. The screen cuts to black. A heartbeat sound intensifies. Then, bam, a breaking news headline appears. Police discover remains in abandoned well. Possible connection to 1996 missing teen. What investigators found was more horrifying than anyone could have ever imagined. The screen fades to black. The title emerges slowly, blood-red letters appearing over a dark background. She went for a walk and disappeared. The 28-year cold case. It was just another summer evening. The air was warm. The sun had just dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows on the quiet streets of Birchwood, Michigan. A place where doors were left unlocked, where neighbors knew each other by name, where nothing bad was ever supposed to happen. Lisa walks past a row of houses, her hands in her pockets. She glances over her shoulder, as if sensing something. The sound of a distant dog barking echoes. But on the evening of July 12, 1996, something went terribly wrong. 19-year-old Lisa Montgomery stepped out of her home for what was supposed to be a short walk. She told her mother she would be back in just 20 minutes. But 20 minutes turned into an hour, then a night, then days, and she never returned. The screen transitions to a faded black and white photograph of Lisa, smiling brightly. The image lingers before dissolving into another. Her parents, standing outside their home, their eyes filled with worry. Lisa was described by those who knew her as kind-hearted, full of life, and deeply loved by her friends and family. She had dreams of becoming a nurse, of traveling, of building a future. She wasn't the type to just disappear. That's what made her vanishing so chilling and so impossible to explain. Cut to an old news broadcast. A grainy TV screen flickers to life. A serious-faced news anchor reports the story, while footage of police officers and volunteers searching the area plays in the background. For weeks, the community came together, hoping for a miracle. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers joined the search, scouring the forests, abandoned buildings, and empty fields. But despite their efforts, there was nothing. No footprints, no belongings, no clues. Lisa had seemingly vanished into thin air. A slow zoom in on a yellowed missing person flyer tacked to a bulletin board. The words "Missing Lisa Montgomery" are bold and striking. Underneath, a phone number for tips is barely legible. And then, the whispers began. Was she kidnapped? Had she run away? Or was something far more sinister at play? As time passed, hope faded. Lisa's family was left with nothing but unanswered questions. But what they didn't know was that Lisa's story was far from over, and nearly 3 decades later, the truth would finally come to light. Cut to black. A loud click, the sound of a case file opening. The words, 28 years later, appear in red letters as the next act begins. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and soon months became years. The town of Birchwood moved forward, but for Lisa's family, time stood still. Every morning, they woke up hoping for news. Every night, they went to bed with nothing but silence. Authorities followed every lead. They interviewed friends, neighbors, and even strangers who had passed through town that night. But with no evidence, no witnesses, and no suspects, the case grew colder by the day. Detectives searched tirelessly. They combed through hours of security footage, questioned possible suspects, and chased theories that led to dead ends. As time passed, the case files stacked higher, gathering dust. Lisa's name slowly faded from the headlines, and eventually, she became just another unsolved mystery. The Montgomery family refused to give up hope. Every year on Lisa's birthday, they held a candlelight vigil in the town square. They placed new flyers around town. They begged the media to keep her story alive. But as the years stretched on, fewer and fewer people showed up. Lisa's mother refused to believe her daughter was gone forever. But as the years passed, even the strongest hope can begin to crack under the weight of uncertainty. By 2015, some in the community started to accept what Lisa's family never could. Perhaps she would never come home. Perhaps she was never meant to. Then, something happened. A phone call, a single clue, a breakthrough that would shatter nearly 3 decades of silence and crack the case wide open. Detectives were stunned when an anonymous tip led them to Daniel Reeves, a man who, after a few too many drinks, had boasted about getting away with murder in a local bar. The tip seemed like a long shot until the investigation uncovered something chilling. 28 years after Lisa Montgomery's disappearance, police unearthed human remains from a dried-up well on Reeves' property. The moment the forensic team confirmed it was her, a shiver ran down every spine in the room. But the real shocker? Reeves had been questioned back in 1996, and shockingly, he had been let go. Now the truth was out, and the hunt for justice had only just begun. Daniel Reeves was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The courtroom, filled with a sense of disbelief, was about to hear details that no one could have prepared for. "Tell us what happened that night, Daniel." She shouldn't have been walking alone. Reeves had abducted Lisa, held her captive for days, and then, in the most horrific of acts, he ended her life. As the trial concluded, the judge's words brought the room to silence. Justice, though long delayed, had finally been served. After decades of heartache, Lisa's family finally received the answers they had desperately been waiting for. But, for them, justice came too late. Lisa's story, a life cut tragically short, remains etched in the hearts of those who loved her. May she rest in peace. If you or someone you know has information about a missing person, contact authorities immediately. Subscribe for more true crime stories, and keep the search for justice alive.